our brains are designed for survival. And if you don't burn that bridge, and if you keep that plan B available, when shit hits the fan, and it will, if you're gonna do anything of massive success, shit is gonna hit the fan. And when shit does hit the fan, your brain will gravitate to that plan B. And now you've aborted from plan A. Now you don't accomplish the goal that you wanted to accomplish. So if you're gonna do anything to make a real change, something of real impact, go with your plan A, burn the boats of plan B, because your brain will figure out a way. What's going on? What's going on, guys? It's your man Vince VO coming to you guys with another episode of the Becoming the Pathfinder podcast series. Today's episode, I'm not using my regular camera. I'm not using my regular equipment. I'm not using my regular audio device. And part of that is being, I've been working very diligently on a new project. A project that's going to definitely benefit you guys. But, I've been in the house all day. Literally yesterday worked around the clock, took a short 2-hour nap, got back up at like 9 o'clock, worked through till 2 o'clock in the morning, then got some sleep, did my morning routine, got on the call, ran a few errands this morning, and just been in the house all day just cranking it out. So it's one of those periods in my life. Let me see if I can fix this camera real quick. One of those periods in my life where it's time to put in those hours. It's time to go to work. It's time to get this done. It's just time to put in those hours. And even though I'm doing that, I still made a commitment to you guys to be posting these videos. I still made a commitment that, as I grow and achieve, other levels of success, it's my duty. It's bestowed upon me. I've already, accepted the rewards where I live right now. I've already been prepaid. That's how I look at it. I've already been prepaid. So because I've been prepaid, because the universe has already rendered payment for services, I have to deliver on that. Now's not the time for me to get comfortable. Now's not the time for me to, I'm not sure if you guys hear that, but one of my neighbors here has a Lamborghini, and whenever he comes around the corner, comes home, you literally hear him. Like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's just very interesting for me. It may be Ty Lopez, because it's a black Lamborghini. I'm playing. But anyways, so I already accepted the payment. I already accepted the rewards. It's time for me to render those services. It's time for me to honor, my commitment as law. I told you guys, his vehicle is really, really loud. It's kind of distracting me right now. Sorry, so if I keep pausing, it's really, really loud. So again, I've already accepted payment for the services, so I have to deliver upon it. I have to honor my commitment as law. So again, that's part of the reason why, even though I may be working on X amount of hours of sleep, I don't even know, I lost count. Even though, I don't have all my equipment set up, I'm still going to make this podcast series. And I'm going to make this podcast series to where you can benefit from it. So what I want to go over with you guys, being that I'm opening a new chapter of my life up. So I'm still very much involved in real estate, still very much, doing everything I have to do on a daily basis in the real estate company. We actually have a closing tomorrow. My assistant's going to be here, to do all that. I'm still very much active with our real estate company. I check in daily, do what I got to do, help the marketing, and I still very much involved with the real estate company. However, my love and my passion for other millennials, and not even millennials as far as, you know, entrepreneurs, just other millennials, and just being able to, because I'm a millennial myself, and I classify our group as the underdogs, and I love the underdog story. I love how, you know, our company is 80 to 90% millennials. I don't know what the median age is or the average age in our company is, but there's one person in our company, my business partner, who's going to be that huge outlier that kind of makes that number sway very far off. And he knows I'm always talking about his age and stuff like that. He's not that old, but I just say that for shits and giggles. So anyways, so I'm still very much doing that, but I have a love and passion for helping other millennials. And part of that is I've reached levels of success, you know, very early in my career. So when I say very early in my career, I mean, you know, back when I was 17, 18 to even now that I'm 21, you know, I've done things, I've experienced things, I live in places, I've just done a lot for my age. I've been able to be around, you know, and rub shoulders with certain groups of people. And I feel like it's my duty to really help the next person up. So one of the things I want to go over with you guys is kind of how am I able to really, how do I put this? I guess the best way to put it is, what's my game plan? Vince, what's your game plan? How did you go from 16-year-old kid interested in real estate to building a company that did 6 figures, doing it again, so did it for the second year, losing it all, going back to zero, and then within 10 months, you didn't just build a company that does 6 figures in a year, your company does 6 figures in a month. How do you do that? What's the blueprint? What's the game plan? What's the strategy that you use? And that's what I want to talk about with you guys. I'm thinking I want to do a house tour, but I think that's kind of corny. I think my neighbor Ty Lopez got that down packed, so I'm not going to steal his idea. I'm gonna actually, when I see him in the elevator, I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna say, you know, your Lamborghini looks like Ty's. But those of you who know me have absolute love and respect for Ty. So this is not spite; it's just funny to me. So, anyways, what's that game plan that you're using? What's that blueprint that you use? You know, what's the thing that's giving you the confidence to, you know, go into this new field in your life? What's going to be able to help mitigate the risk? What's going to be able to help you navigate through? What's going to keep you motivated? What's going to keep you driven? You know, I know you guys have a lot of questions, and I'm glad I'm actually having this talk on this day, because one of the topics I want to do on Tuesdays is just Real Talk Tuesdays. Let's talk about real stuff. Let's not talk about the fluff, not what people want to talk, you know, not what people want us to talk about. Let's talk about the real stuff. So I guess I'll have the first episode and let's talk about success. Let's talk about the blueprint. Let's talk about the game plan that you're using. Now, here's my little disclaimer for right now. If your goal is to build a $1 billion business, a $100 million business, a $10 million business, a business that does over $1.5 million, make $1 million in a year personal income, I don't know if this video will help you. And that's just me being sincerely and honest with you. As much as I want to say that yes, my blueprint and yes, my strategy can work for that, but I just haven't done it yet. And I'm a true believer in, you know, if you could talk about it, then you could do it. Now, there are certain circumstances where that may not be true, but for the most part, I'm one of those guys who, you know what, if I say something, I want to be able to know that I've done it. But however, if you want to learn how I've been able to make 6 figures in business, been able to make 5 figures in another part-time business. And when I say 5 figures, I'm not talking like $10,000. I'm talking mm, $60,000 to $70,000, and that's just BSing it. Like honestly, that's just I did that part time on the side, not really trying. So I can help you with that. So that's just me giving you those disclaimers as far as the blueprint that works for me. And I know that over time, my blueprint may or may not tweak or change, but this is just what I'm following, what's working for me now. So the first thing that I typically do, and I did back when I first got started, is I had to realize, all right, what's my end goal? What is it that I want to accomplish? And the way I look at, an end goal is not like, oh yeah, I want to make $1 million. Oh yeah, I want to be successful. To me, that's not an end goal. That's not really establishing the kind of end goal that I establish. The way I do it is I describe the life I want. Where do I want to live? How often do I want to travel? Do I want a significant other? What kind of income freedom would I like to have? What do I want to do with my family? What do I want to do? And I define that. What do I enjoy doing? What is something I enjoy doing? Not necessarily tying it to a particular business. So for me, if I knew absolutely nothing about real estate, I know that I like systems. I like playing with systems. I like technology. I like communicating. I like sales. So just because I like these things does not mean that real estate is that avenue. It doesn't mean that I tie that to real estate. It doesn't mean I have to tie that to, all these other things. It's just me defining what that life, what that end goal looks like for me. I want to make it so crystal clear where I want that there's really very little deviations I can say no to a lot of things. So because I know this is the kind of life I want, I can say no to this because it doesn't fit within that realm of that lifestyle I want. It doesn't fit within that income requirement, that lifestyle, that family time, that relationship time, that people, that travel. It doesn't fit within that, so I can say no. Like for me, one of those things I could do is individual consulting. I could be a consultant. I've done it before. That's the other part-time thing that I did on the side, just BSing. And with that consultant, I have to do the math. Whatever 21 divided by 22 is, that's my success ratio with that. So I'm good at it. I wasn't, bullshitting anyone or just, doing it. So I have a 95% success ratio with that. So it's not like I was just out here when I say doing it on the side, I don't mean I was giving it my side attention, but it wasn't something that I really saw myself doing for years and years and years. It was just something that, hey, let me just try this, let me test it. So again, that's my first thing I always do. In any new venture, I always look at, what's that ideal life? What does that look like? So you have to ask yourself in anything that you want to do, what's that lifestyle? For some of you, you think it may be real estate, but it may not be. There are multiple ways to skin a cat. There are multiple ways to make money. There are multiple ways to get the life that you want, the life that you deserve. I'm probably going to have to sit in one of these bar seats here. Been standing up for a long time. This standing up desk has got me standing like a lot. Okay, here we go. So, too close to y'all. You guys probably don't want to see me that close. So like I was saying, you have to define what that life looks like for you. So what's that lifestyle look like for you? And then, so once I do that, again, when I first got started in the real estate business, and then again, when I lost it all, and then now, that gives me a clear picture of, all right, now that I kind of have an idea of what that looks like, now I start breaking it down. I start looking at, all right, what are certain industries, what are certain things that I could do that match up with that? At a time in my life when I did the consulting, that's what matched up with my life. That's what gave me all of that. So that's why I tried it. And as you saw, or as I'm telling you, I was good at it. But there are certain areas where it just didn't fill me. So that's why I kind of let that go. Then once you have your clear, defined end goal, the next thing that I look at is, all right, what's worst case scenario? What is the worst case possible? What's the worst possible thing that could happen? Because I'm a very real person. I'm not overly optimistic, and I'm not pessimistic either. I always look at what's worst case scenario. So if I'm about to go into this new venture with a business partner or by myself or whatever, I always want to know what's the worst possible thing that could happen. I had to realize that when I was younger. And that's why I tell people who want to get into real estate, who are about my age, millennials, there's not much that we can do right now to fuck up our lives. There's not much. Trust me, I've heard and seen a lot of people's situations, but it's not as bad as it can be if we decide to wait until we're in our 40s and 50s and we have obligations and responsibilities and all that. But for right now, there's not much that we could do to mess up our lives and to do like irreplaceable damage. So, I even told my assistant, I was like, hey, send me an email. I want you to send me an email with all the possible things that could go wrong. Because I personally want to know what's the worst possible thing that can happen. And you guys have to do the same thing. Because here's the thing. If you can list what all the possible things that could go wrong are, you can at least brace yourself for it. You can at least prepare yourself for it. And certain things don't come up as a surprise to you. Don't be too overly optimistic and think that you're freaking Superman, Superwoman. It's not going to happen to you. It happened to 98% of people who went on that path, but it's not going to happen to you. Don't be so, again, I think the word's narcissistic. So don't be that person. Be very real. Don't just ask yourself for that. Again, I asked my assistant. I asked someone who I trusted. I said, what's the worst possible thing that can happen? Ask someone in your life who you trust. Ask them, what's the worst possible thing that can happen if I decide to go do here? If you want to be a singer, if you want to be a rapper, if you want to get into real estate, if you want to open up your own beauty salon, if you want to open up your own apartment complex, if you want, whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to just start a podcast like I did, just what's the worst possible thing that can happen? And once you look at that list of worst possible things that you created and your loved one created, the next thing you got to do is you have to come to terms with that, come to reality with that. Ask yourself, am I ready, willing, and able to accept this? If any one of these things or all of these things were to happen, can I handle it? Can I accept it being the reality of what it is? Or is it just too much for me? There are certain things for me, it's just too much. I know, and I tell myself every day, I can do anything I want. But there are just certain things I'm just like, it's not, the pain reward isn't worth it for me. That's why I don't do anything in politics. I don't debate on that. I don't talk about it. I just stay in my lane because my goal, it's not my thing. The risk reward's it's not there for me. But there are certain things I'm like, let's jump into it. Let's do it. I'm all for it. So again, you gotta have that very real conversation with yourself and ask yourself, can you do it? And then the third step, again, so number one, I identify what my end goal is. Number two, I'm looking for worst case scenario. I want to know what's all the worst possible things, and I have to come to terms with all those worst possible things that could happen. If there's anything on that list that concerns me, then I'm like, I don't know about that. I have to, before I get started on that plan, I have to at least have something that can mitigate that. I have to mitigate that risk enough to where it's back in my comfort zone. So if losing $100,000 on a new project for me, I have to not lose them, but spending $100,000 is required to go into this new venture, and there's a possibility I may lose all $100,000, and I'm not comfortable with that. I have to find something to mitigate that enough to where it brings it back into my comfort zone. That could be finding the absolute best of the best top of the line mentors, the absolute best of the best top of the line contractors who, when I'm putting that $100,000, I know it's in good hands. That may be finding the best possible attorney that there is. That may be, finding the best talent that there is. That may be, maybe not spending all $100 at the same time. Maybe can I break down the budget? Can I, do, 10, 10, 10 or 5, 5, 5 or, 50, 50. Just wherever. I have to figure out some way that I can mitigate that risk where it's now within my comfort zone, now within somewhere I'm comfortable at. For some of you, getting in front of a stage and speaking is something that's terribly difficult. One way that you can mitigate that is start with videos online. Make them public. I told one of the guys on our acquisitions team, I told him that, I was like, look, man, you're having a hard time talking to people in person. Just start making videos. Listen to yourself. Look at yourself. Take notes. Do it enough time, it will become second nature. Me personally, I know you guys could probably only watch like 15 videos, but I've made at least 250 videos. So this, again, second nature, but it wasn't always like that. Today I watched some of my first videos, I'm like, what was I thinking? And I know a year from now, we'll look at this video and be like, what was I saying? What was I thinking? But do enough. Do something to mitigate that risk for yourself. Again, if you're scared of speaking, this may be your outlet. You may be a digital speaker. That may be your outlet. You may, rather than doing seminars, you may do webinars. Rather than speaking in front of audiences, you may just do one-on-one consultations. But find something to mitigate that risk for yourself to where you feel comfortable doing it. Then he's coming up, or he's leaving. That's his little Lamborghini sound I was looking at. It's a nice car. But so the next thing is burn the boat. Burn the boat to the ground. Burn them and watch them burn. Because here's the thing. Our brains, our minds, or not minds, but our brains are designed to keep us safe. Our brains are designed for survival. And if you don't burn that bridge, and if you keep that plan B available, when shit hits the fan, and it will, if you're gonna do anything of massive success, shit is gonna hit the fan. And when shit does hit the fan, your brain will gravitate to that plan B. And now you've aborted from plan A. Now you don't accomplish the goal that you wanted to accomplish. So if you're gonna do anything to make a real change, something of real impact, go with your plan A, burn the boats of plan B, because your brain will figure out a way. See, for me, because I realized that, our brains are built, designed for safety and for survival, I use that to my advantage. Whenever I'm about to do something different, I use the knowledge of knowing that to my advantage. And the way I do that is, I know that if all I'm given is, I can't think of any situation. Here's a perfect one. I just watched the movie. 2 days ago. I think it's The Mountains Between Us, something like that. It was with Idris Elba and the lady. They got into a plane crash. They were in the mountains, somewhere in North America, cold, blistering cold. And the plane crashes. And they're forced to survive with everything that they have, with the remnants of the crash from the plane. There is no plan B. There is no, oh, I'm too cold, let me get out. Oh, I'm too hungry, stop. Oh, I'm too this, I'm not gonna do it anymore. No, it's survival mode. So what did their brains do? Make the best out of this situation that was presented to them. They got resourceful. They got creative. They made it work. So you have to be the same way with your goals in life. Burn the boats to plan B. That's why the only plan I have is a plan A. Back when I told my dad that I was going to go to real estate and I quit my job, and I told everybody at my job before I quit after 2 weeks that I'm going to real estate, and they looked at me crazy because I was like, look, this is what I'm doing. This Publix thing, I'm not keeping it available because I know the human brain it needs that safety. It needs that comfort. And I know that with the real estate company, if shit hit the fan, I'm going to go back to my comfort zone. I'm going to stop. I know that. So now I've really understood after reading books and studying the human brain. Again, like I said, I use that to my advantage. I know that the brain is meant to keep you alive, keep you safe. So one of the things that I do is whenever I'm going into a different segment, area, whatever, I burn the plans, burn the blueprint for plan B, and I just focus on my plan A. That's the only plan I got. There is no other option. There is no just in case. There is none of that. Because here's the thing I know, and here's what I'm telling you guys. If all you have is a plan A and your brain knows that's all you have, so let me say again, if all you have is a plan A and your brain knows that's all you have, your brain will get resourceful, your brain will get creative, and your brain will make it work. Because again, your brain is meant to keep you alive. And your brain knows that if the only way to keep you alive is to utilize this plan A, it'll utilize plan A. That's one of the big secrets and keys to the success of our business now. We're spending less than 10 grand a month, and we're making an upwards of 6 figures every single month with a goal of this month and the next 3 months of a quarter every single month. And again, we're spending less than 10 grand every single month. That didn't happen because I read the book. That didn't happen because there was that plan A and plan B. That happened because when shit hit the fan for me and I didn't have any more money and I had to get creative, I had to make some money from this real estate company and I had to make some money and I had bills to pay and I had no money to spend on marketing, no money to spend on this. I didn't have gas to put in my car, couldn't even pay for my car insurance. My brain got creative. My brain figured it out. My brain was like, you know what? I'm going to make this work. If all I got is milk and cheese, somewhere with this milk and cheese, milk and eggs, whatever, we're going to make a freaking Eiffel Tower. That's literally what my brain said. Some way with this milk and cheese that we got, or milk and eggs, we're making an Eiffel Tower. And again, your brain gets creative. Like, don't you ever think about if you have like an English project, a paper to write, and how creative you get the day before? But when you have the option not to do it all these other days, you don't really double down on it. So a lot of the ideas that we're using in our business now came because of that pressure that was applied, that fight, flight, or freeze. And for me, freezing wasn't an option. Flight wasn't an option because there was nowhere to fly to. I didn't have oh my gosh, I'm scared, let me run into this hole. It was, no, you better face this. You better go through this. You better deal with this pain, deal with this issue. Figure it out. Because if you don't, there is no if you don't. It's either you figure out or you die. It's either you figure out or you starve. And a lot of you people keep that comfort, keep that safety, that just in case. And that's what hinders you from really reaching your success, that comfort, that safety. Sometimes you just got to let it go. Sometimes you got to burn that boat. Because I'm telling you, your brain will get creative. Your brain will figure it out. So that's really it. I hate that this video is so long, but that's really and honestly and truly it. That's, I guess, the first 3 steps for me, going into a different venture. I'll quickly say the last one, especially if you guys have been with me for this long. So the first one again is, what's the end goal? What's your end goal? In any new venture I've done, before I got started in real estate, to when I lost it all and had to rebuild this company, what's the end goal? I know what the end goal for our business is. Our company, our team members know what the end goal for this business is. They reiterate that vision, the vision and the mission to me regularly. We know what the end goal was. That end goal was established before everything else. What's the lifestyle? What's the people that we want to target? What do we want to do? What's the impact we want to make? Then once you have that, you have to figure out, what's worst case scenario? What's the worst case scenario things that could happen on your way to accomplishing your goal? What's the most amount of money that you could spend and lose? And if you're not okay with those odds, if you're not okay with those numbers, how do you mitigate that? How do you make it to where it's not that big, where you can condense it into bite-sized pieces, or to where you still may be risking the same amount of money, but you feel like it's in better hands? That may be, finding a more qualified mentor. If you got to spend 10 grand to get into a certain industry, would you rather spend, the 10 grand on a for sure thing, on the guy whose track record is really, really good? And I'm not saying me, but I'm just saying on the person who you're confident in? Or would you rather take that investment and spend it with someone that's shaky? Someone where it's just might as well be a coin toss. That may be your way of mitigating it, because if you spend that 10 grand with this person, you're gonna get a return. I have a guy who is doing some work with us. I had two options. I had a guy who I knew for sure could do it. As much as I know I'm gonna need sleep tonight, it's as confident as I am that this guy could do it. And I had another guy who, it's a trial, it's a test. I don't know. And because of the relationship I want to form with this new guy, and I want to give this guy an opportunity, I decided against it. And because I know that, all right, the money that I'm spending with this guy is a little bit less. So if it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't overcome me to where it's like, oh my gosh, that's the last I have. But if that's your scenario where you have a kind of sort of thing and a for sure thing, go with the for sure. That's how you mitigate that risk. That's how you not make it seem that bad, or just mitigate. That's how you hedge your bets. So once you've done that, the next thing you want to do, which my mind just drew a blank, I just said it. Oh, burn the boats. So once you establish that goal, once you've recognize what all the worst case scenarios things are, burn the boats. Get your ass on the sand and burn the boats. Don't have that plan B. The only plan is plan A. Get what you want. Get what you deserve. Because here's a sad truth. And I told this to my assistant. I said, when we settle for less, when we end up settling for less than what we deserve, we often get less than what we wanted. When we settle for less than what we deserve, we often get less than what we wanted. And she said, yeah, because most people put it in the context of a relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone who you're like, I can get better than this, I know I can, then you should know that person's nobody gives their 100% all. Especially not early in the relationship. Nobody gives their 100% all. And the fact that they're not giving you if you're settling with them and they're not giving you their 100% all as it is, then you're getting, again, less than what you settled for. Apply that to any principle in life, to business, to whatever. When you settle for less, you get less than what you deserve anyways. So, or you get less than what you settle for. So why do that to yourself? Identify what you want, realize what it's going to take to get it, and go after it. Just go after it. Burn the bridge. Burn the bridge and the boat. Put the boats in the water. Burn the bridge. Let the bridge fall on the boats. Because I keep saying burn the bridge. Burn them both. Don't leave room for a plan B. Because like I said for the last time, if all you have is a plan A, and that's all your brain has to work with, and you don't give your brain an option to chicken out, to back out, to, go back to its comfort zone, I'm telling you, your brain will make it work with what it's got. Your brain will get creative. Your brain will go into survival mode with the resources it's given. If you got dropped off in the desert, your brain's not gonna, and there's no comfort, your brain will figure out how to survive in the desert. It'll get creative. So take that same principle, apply it to business. And with that being said, guys, I'll probably go on another rant or tirade, not really tirade, another rant as far as my progress on a different episode. But this is truthfully and honestly what I've had to kind of come to terms with these last 2 weeks. This is my version of documenting the process. Really just showing you guys, hey, this is what it's going to take. And I'm confident that I'm going to succeed because I follow my success principles, which I'll go into details later. I'll follow my success principles. I'm confident that I'm going to succeed. Now, succeeding to me may not be, even though my original plan was this, I may not have achieved that original plan, but because the goal, again, is a lifestyle goal and not a definite, this is only it, I'm flexible. I work with what I got. I maneuver. I make it work. So that being said, I want to thank those of you who've tuned in and stayed on for this long. And you guys are the reason why I do what I do. You guys are the reason why, I come on here and I just give it my all. I just put it all on the line. And you guys are the reason why, again, even though I've had the quote unquote challenges I've had so far, I still made a commitment to you guys to get on this episode, to make an episode and be on here. So I want to thank you guys for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys are enjoying these episodes, wait till you guys see what we got planned for next week. Just wait till y'all see what we got. Y'all don't even know what's in store. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys will have a wonderful one. I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode of the podcast. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another piece of content, as well as go ahead and follow me on my social media platforms. That's at VinceStars on Instagram, that's at VinceStars on Snapchat, that's at VinceStars on YouTube, and that's Vince Ohasilugo on Facebook. Thanks once again, you guys, and I'll see you guys and change some lives on the next episode.